How to perform a cathodic test using the RegO app. As you probably know, underground steel tanks corrode due to an electrochemical reaction between the tank and the surrounding soil. Cathodic protection must be tested, and we're going to show you how using the RegO app. We will first find our customer in the database, in this case, NC Tech. Once we've chosen this customer, the app will display the assets at that location. You can see now that we have one above-ground propane tank listed in their assets, but we'll add another tank as an asset and then perform the test. We will enter all of the parameters for this underground tank, including an indication of where the tank is located. This makes it easier to find when you return to the site. Once all of our data has been entered, we will click on the Add Picture button and take a snapshot of the top of the tank. If you haven't entered in enough data, the app will prompt you. Once you completely fill out the form, you may register this asset. So now we see that we have an above-ground tank that was already an asset, and now we've added an underground tank. We will click on the Perform Service button next to the underground tank. From the next menu, you will choose Cathodic Protection. You can see the tank details here, and when you are ready to begin the test, you can click Continue. You will need to enter the percentage for how full the tank is. In this case, the gauge is reading 75%. Remember, the percent is implied and does not need to be entered into the field. Next is some data that you will need to get from your customer, the number of anode bags. Usually, you would need one bag for every 500 gallons of capacity. In this case, we have 2 bags. Next, choose the reason for inspection. Is this a new customer, or possibly a new installation where the cathodic protection is tested within 180 days following the installation? Or possibly it's a follow-up inspection for a failed test. Or maybe it's just a routine verification. We will choose New Customer in this instance because we just entered this tank into the database. Here you will see an overhead diagram of our tank as well as the points where you will need to test with a voltmeter. Our technician is at point 1, and he will clip one test lead connector to an uncoated metallic area of the tank, preferably to the fill pipe multivalve. Then he will proceed to each of these 5 test points and record the voltage when the lead is stuck into the ground. Once the first value is recorded in the app, the technician proceeds to the next test point, records that value, and then repeats the process for the remaining test points. Please note that test point number 5 is optional. The technician will click the Continue button, and then the voltage readings will be analyzed and a result will appear on screen. In this case, our tank passed. At this point, we will add any notes about the test. It could be as simple as Passed Cathodic Protection Test. Then we will take a picture of the top of the tank. Next, click Accept Results. This screen is what you will use to discuss your findings with your customer. If you repaired anything or noticed anything that needed attention, or if you just want to give your customer the good news that their tank passed the test, this screen is what you'll show to your customer. Once you have reviewed the findings with them, you will click on the Acknowledgement button. Then your customer will sign to indicate that the findings were discussed with them and that they understand any further actions that must be taken, if any. In our final screen, you will see the history of the actions taken on this site. You can click on an individual report to see the details.